be showing you how to make Italian seasoned roast using a method called braising. Braising is cooking your meat using moist heat to break down tough connective tissues that are sometimes found in specific muscles of the cow. These muscles are called locomotion muscles, and they're called that because they're muscles that the cow uses to move around very frequently, such as the arms, the legs, and the rump. So the specific cut we're using today is called a chuck roast. And a chuck roast comes from the shoulder of the cow. When the cow is walking around, it's using those muscles, which force those muscles to build up more connective tissue, making it a tougher cut of meat. So I'm going to show you how you can prepare this cut of meat into a delicious, tender, juicy roast that you can serve. The first thing I want to do is pat my roast dry with a paper towel. This will help remove any moisture from the surface of the cut, allowing the seasoning to stick better, as well as allowing us to get a better sear on the edge of our roast. The next thing I want to do is put a seasoning mixture over the surface of my roast, and I'm using a combination of au jus gravy mix and Italian seasoning mix. I've combined the two envelopes of seasoning in a bowl, and I'm going to rub the mixture evenly into my roast. Now, searing involves using a very high temperature to form a crust of your meat and to seal in all of the natural juices of your roast. I am using a canola oil which has a high smoke point, which means it won't burn very easily once I start searing my meat. Once my oil has had a chance to heat up, I am going to carefully place my seasoned chuck roast into the hot oil and let it rest for about 3 to 5 minutes on the hot oil to create a sear. Now what the sear is where I'm browning just the outside of the meat to form a crust, which will essentially help seal in the natural juices of my chuck roast. You're going to carefully turn your chuck roast, allowing the other side to brown and sear as well. Now that your chuck roast has had a chance to sear on both sides for 5 minutes, you're going to stir in 4 cups of beef broth. You're going to place your chuck roast with your beef broth into a 350-degree oven for about 3 hours or until fork tender. After 3 hours, remove the chuck roast out of your oven and make sure the meat is fork tender. If it is, go ahead and let the meat set in the broth for an additional 30 minutes. Once your meat has rested in the juice for about 30 minutes, remove to a cutting board and use 2 forks to shred the meat. Once you have shredded up your roast, there are so many options on ways to prepare it. From French dip sandwiches, to beef and noodles, to serving it over mashed potatoes, to making barbecue beef sandwiches and quesadillas. You can't go wrong once you know how to braise a roast.